Thanks everyone for joining on the Saturday evening program of Bhagavad Gita discussion. So we are starting today the third chapter of Bhagavad Gita, the knowledge of action. So Karma Yoga is a very insightful subject matter. Lord Krishna is going to elaborate from the third, fourth and fifth chapter. And Lord Krishna concludes the perfection of Karma Yoga in the fifth chapter, last verse of Bhagavad Gita, last verse of fifth chapter. While we are starting the third chapter, let us not forget where we stopped in the second chapter, because Bhagavad Gita is a song of Lord Krishna, which is a continuous instructions Lord Krishna is giving. You cannot pick one verse from Bhagavad Gita and say that this is all in all. Yes, there are verses in Bhagavad Gita where Lord Krishna summarizes and provides the entire contextual level, the summary of Bhagavad Gita. For example, Sarva Dharman Parityajya Mamekam Sharanam Vraja is an instruction Lord Krishna gives, which is all in all, which Bhagavad Gita. But there are some instructions Lord Krishna gives in Bhagavad Gita which need to be linked with the other verses, other chapter of Bhagavad Gita to understand holistically what is the instruction Lord Krishna is trying to give. So Lord Krishna in the second chapter spoke about the knowledge of the identity. Lord Krishna spoke about the occupational duty, Swadharma. Then Lord Krishna spoke about Parodharma, occupation duty of the soul. Then Lord Krishna spoke about when Arjuna asked, how do I recognize those people who actually perform occupation duty of the soul? Then Lord Krishna started speaking about Sthita Pragnasya Kabasha. How do we recognize the personalities who actually work on the platform of soul? So Lord Krishna started elaborating Sthita Pragnaha. Prajahati yada kaman sarvan parthamanogatam atmanaiv atmanah tushta Sthita Pragna tadochate. Lord Krishna said very important thing about one topic. Lord Krishna tried to touch upon whenever that Sthita Pragna definition took its elaboration, one topic that was mind management. Prajahati yada kaman, mind is a repository of unlimited amount of desires. Mind is a factory of creating desires, because mind is in partnership with eyes, ears, nose, tongue and touch. Through these windows, mind captures what is happening around the world and creates unlimited amount of desires. How to control the mind was the topic Lord Krishna elaborately explained in the last part of Bhagavad Gita, second chapter. Sarvan partha manogatam, give up your desires where mind is producing those desires. Atmanaiv atmanah tushta, become satisfied with needs of the soul, because needs of the body, which is convinced by the mind that this is needed for you, will keep on changing. But needs of the soul will remain the same from the birth to death. So hence, it is very important that we actually become Sthita Pragnaha. So Lord Krishna elaborately explained, Durena hi avarah karmaha, buddhi yoga dhananjaya. Keep all the abominable activities at distance by practicing buddhi yoga. Buddhi means intelligence, yoga means connection. How can we connect Lord Krishna through our intelligence? Buddhi yoga dhananjaya. So buddhi yoga is actually the practice of devotional service. So when Lord Krishna explained that you need to keep your abominable activities at bay by performing Buddhi Yoga, devotional service, then Arjuna immediately started saying, yeah, I need to keep abominable activities at bay. Those abominable activities are killing my own elders, killing my own relatives, killing my own brothers who are assembled in this battlefield, who are in the opposition army. Hence, killing them is abominable. Hence, I need to run away from this battlefield. Oh Krishna, you told me to practice Buddhi Yoga and become Sthita Prajna. For me to become Sthita Prajna, I need to leave this battlefield because you are saying knowledge is better than action. If the knowledge is better than action, it is important for me that I need to practice devotional service. If I need to practice devotional service, I need to give up this responsibility you have given to me as a Kshatriya warrior who is actually representing the Pandavas army. I don't want to fight in this battlefield. Again, Arjuna came back to the same. The wish, the desire he had, that he wanted to escape. Just like Arjuna thought Lord Krishna's instruction is to perform devotional service. To perform devotional service means we need to give up our worldly occupational duties. Similarly, most of the people in India think if you practice spirituality means you should not have worldly responsibilities. This is a myth in India that if you are practicing bhakti means you should not have any responsibilities. You have to either do bhakti or either do occupational duty, the worldly responsibilities. You cannot do both. So many people start asking, oh, you are practicing spirituality, then why are you working? You should have left the job. What is keeping you hooked on to this worldly career and progress and all those things? This is a big myth that people carry whenever they think about spirituality. So, Lord Krishna, if you see in second chapter of Bhagavad Gita, when he started speaking about Buddhi Yoga, the Sthita Prajna, Lord Krishna never spoke about don't fight in the battlefield. Lord Krishna was trying to explain Arjuna that it is very important that you had to perform your occupational duty, that you are a Kshatriya, you need to fight, but you need to fight with a proper consciousness. We often, when we perform our worldly activities, we often get attached to the outcome because mind is always attached to the worldly desires. It gets hooked on to the worldly desires. And we get attached to the outcome we derive from our activities, our responsibilities, and how can we enjoy. This actually binds us in this world. Because mind creates many desires. Oh, if you perform this activity, this would be the outcome. From this outcome, Mungeri Lal ke Haseen Sapne. So you get all into the dreams of how can we actually enjoy more and more in this world. Mind is the biggest distractor. In the Lord Krishna, in 6th chapter says, one who actually makes mind as his partner and controls the mind. For him, spirituality path is already achieved. Paramatma Samagatah. If you want to become closer to me, you need to control the mind. But how to control the mind? mind becomes slaves of sense orders. Senses keep on ordering that I need this, I need that, I need this, and the mind becomes captured in fulfilling the needs of the senses. Who is the only person who can control the mind? That is intelligence. Intelligence is a teacher for the mind. If mind is controlled with proper determination, resolute intelligence, then mind can focus towards devotional service. Otherwise, mind is always attached to profit and loss, gain and safety, happiness and misery. So it is very, very important that intelligence becomes resolute. How intelligence can become resolute? Intelligence can become resolute only by practicing spirituality. There has to be a spiritual practice, because intelligence is the energy, subtle energy, which is closer to our soul. If soul needs to drive intelligence, then intelligence needs to follow the needs of the soul. That is done by practicing spirituality. Hence, Krishna advised Arjuna, if you need to come out of the proprietorship of owning that this is the results, whatever I am going to get from performing those activities, these results for my own enjoyment, I am the owner of this outcome, that proprietorship we need to give up. This proprietorship giving up is only possible when we actually start practicing Buddhi Yoga. Durena hi avarah karma Buddhi Yoga Dhananjaya. Lord Krishna explains in the second chapter. Now immediately Arjuna said, if I need to perform Buddhi Yoga, devotion service, which is higher than action, then why do I need to perform, why do I need to actually fight in this battlefield? So this is the start of the third chapter. Start of the third chapter, Arjuna is saying that I need to fight in the battlefield, but you are saying devotional service is better than performing actions. I want to practice devotional service, and he wanted to use devotional service as the escaping route for performing our duties. So it is very, very important for us to understand this. Normally when we perform our occupation duties like the education, work, career, prosperity, wealth, family, control, career progress, all this sometimes puts us in very, very, very delicate situations. Very uncomfortable situations. I don't have to explain you all those things. You are watching what is happening. Some people, even after money, having fame, they still indulge in all these kinds of entertainment, pornographic and all, and get arrested. What was the need? But we often get into an uncomfortable situation because of our own slavery which we have given to our mind, slave of our mind demands. In these uncomfortable situations, we start thinking that I need to get away from this. The only way, I think, I need to take shelter of spiritual consolation. That is only a temporary. This is not a permanent need that person is actually looking for. For example, I have met many people who are in midst of corona. And when they are in midst of corona and they are admitted to the hospital, immediately they say, in the fear, if I actually get cured from corona, I'm going to full time dedicate myself in service of Krishna. These are all called Markata Vairagya. Just because of fear of death, we are trying to take a shelter saying that I will actually focus on spirituality. If I take, but once they get cured, once they come to the worldly view, everything gets forgotten. So Lord Krishna speaks that devotional service doesn't mean retirement. Devotional service means taking responsibility with more proper consciousness, with uplifted consciousness, with a transcendental consciousness that I am doing this service for the pleasure of Krishna. I need to offer the results of my activities for the pleasure of Krishna. That is actually the Buddhi Yoga. So the first part of third chapter is from verse 1st to 9th, where Lord Krishna speaks about Tyaga. The Tyaga, where Arjuna asks, I am going to give up, I will not going to fight because you told me that Buddhi Yoga is better than performing actions. Knowledge is better than actions. So Lord Krishna answers Arjuna, no, you cannot run away artificially from your responsibilities. You will never ever be able to uplift your life through such unnatural processes. Purification of the body happens through a proper mechanism. You need to follow those mechanisms. That's where Lord Krishna speaks about the Karma Yoga, the concepts of Karma Yoga. So next Lord Krishna speaks from the 10th verse of 3rd chapter to the 16th verse of 3rd chapter. The 3rd chapter, the second part of the third chapter, Lord Krishna speaks about the rungs of ladder. What are rungs? Ladder, you have a ladder where you are going to have an horizontal rungs where you keep your steps. So Lord Krishna speaks about the perfection of Karma Yoga. So Lord Krishna is going to speak about Karma Kanda, where Lord Krishna is going to explain how people in this world are going to perform their activities, and they only perform their activities with an aim to enjoy the results. And they're going to get binded with this karma, results of karma, and they become entangled in this world. That is Karma Kanda. Then Lord Krishna speaks about Sakama Karma Yoga. What is Sakama Karma Yoga? Where Sakama Karma Yoga, where Lord Krishna tells that some section of people perform their activities, they are attached to those activities, but they offer part of their outcomes in the service of Krishna. They are attached to the activities, what they do, whatever the skills they have, whatever the talents they have, they engage in those activities. They utilize some part of the outcome for serving Krishna. Sakama, one who is attached. Then Lord Krishna says the next step, the advanced step of Karma Yoga is Nishkama Karma Yoga, where one is ready to perform any activity which is actually favorable for his Krishna consciousness, and he is ready to surrender all the outcomes in actually service of Krishna. So Karma Kanda, Sakama Karma Yoga, Nishkama Karma Yoga is the 3 levels of ladder of karma theory that Lord Krishna is going to explain in the second part of 3rd chapter. The third part of the 3rd chapter is where Lord Krishna starts explaining we have personalities in this world who have practiced Nishkama Karma Yoga. They didn't run away from their work. They practiced they performed their occupational duty, and they actually invested all the outcomes in the service of me, service of Krishna. So how they actually utilized all the outcomes in the service of Krishna. Lord Krishna explains those exemplary personalities and the exemplary activities a person who does, who has perfected the karma yogi. Who is the perfect karma yogi? Lord Krishna explains. That is the third part of third chapter. That is the fourth part of the third chapter is, then Lord Arjuna asks, I want to engage in the service of you, I want to engage in the service of the humanity, but why is that? Even though I want to do good, but there is something which impels me to do some wrong activities. What is that which impels me to do wrong activities? That's where Lord Krishna says, Kama yesha krodha yesha rajo guna samudbhavaha mahashano mahapapma vidiyaiva hi vairinam. Who are the vairis? Who are the enemies of us? Kama, krodha, the lust which actually impels us to perform. Lust and anger, krodha. So Lord Krishna explains about the enemies of soul in that. So this is very easy to remember. The third chapter is Tyaga, rungs of Lord, exemplary and enemy of soul, that forms tree, T-R-E, okay? So the first verse of the third chapter, Arjuna uvacha jayasi chet karmanaste matha buddhir janardana tatkim karmani gore mam niyojayasi keshava. O Janardana, Arjuna said, O Janardana, O Keshava, why do you want to engage me in this ghastly warfare if you think that intelligence is better than fugitive work? We discussed about that Krishna explained elaborately the concept of Buddhi Yoga, the devotional services. The Krishna, Arjuna said, if you are thinking Buddhi Yoga is better than karma, that is engaging in my responsibilities as a Kshatriya, then why should I work as a Kshatriya? I want to run away from this battlefield. So, as I explained, people have a myth that if you want to practice spirituality, then you need to leave worldly responsibilities. You cannot do both. That is a myth, a misunderstanding in the population. You cannot just engage in your worldly responsibilities thinking that this is all in all. I am actually fully engaged in my responsibilities. I do not need to actually practice spirituality. The second myth, what people have is, those who practice spirituality are all those people who could not succeed in their occupational duty. This is the second myth. The first myth is, if you are going to practice spirituality, you need to leave all the worldly responsibilities. Second myth people in general have is, if you are practicing spirituality, then you are a failed candidate in the material responsibility, worldly occupation duty. Since you failed, you have taken this spirituality as an escapism. Both are a big misunderstanding people in India have. And because of that, as soon as someone takes up spirituality, someone starts chanting the names of Krishna, immediately there is a fear in the family that this person is going to run away from his responsibility. No, never. Yeah? So the second verse, Arjuna is continuing. Vamishreneva vakyena buddhim mohaya shiva me tadekam vada nishchitya yena shreyoham apnuyam. So Arjuna is saying, now I am baffled. Which route I need to take? My intelligence is bewildered by your equivocal instructions. Krishna told in the second chapter that Swadharma api chaveksha, you are a Kshatriya, your duty is to perform, your duty is to actually fight in the battlefield. That is your bodily responsibility. Krishna also told that Dure nahi avashak avarak karma buddhi yoga dhananjaya. You need to keep away from abominable activities that through this bodily engagement. By practicing buddhi yoga, you are telling both. You are telling me to practice spirituality, you are telling me to engage in the bodily affairs. Spirituality is occupation, function of the soul. Occupation, the worldly activities is the function of the body. What I need to do? So my intelligence is bewildered by your equivocal instructions. Therefore, please tell me decisively which will be the most beneficial for me. Which route I need to take? Most of us are get into this dilemma that what I need to do, I am having two paths to follow, which I need to do. That is where you need to actually read Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita gives you a clarity of what responsibility you need to perform. Yeah? Next verse. Shri Bhagavan Vacha Lokesmin Vivida Nishta Pura Prokta Mayanaga Gnana Yogena Sankyana Karma Yogena Yoginam. Supreme Personality of Godhead said, O sinless Arjuna, I have already explained that there are two classes of men who try to realize the self. Some are inclined to understand it by empirical, philosophical speculation, and others by devotional service. Very, very important to understand. Very important. Krishna is explaining there are two sections of people. One section of people is who try to realize the need of the soul by their speculation. Speculation, what is speculation? I need to go from Mysore to Bangalore. There is already a 4-lane road. Person says, why I need to follow this road? I will find out my own path. I am not going to travel from Mysore to Bangalore with the path which is given by the government, the lawmakers. I am not going to follow that. I will actually make my own path to reach from Mysore to Bangalore. Why should I get confused with all these paths? This is a burden for my mind. I will only think about my own path and then follow my own path. This is a dangerous situation. Speculating how should I reach Bangalore even after the lawmakers have given you the path. I'm not going to sit in train. I'm not going to go by bus. I'm not going to go by road. None of this. I will find my own path. Dangerous situations. So Lord Krishna says there are two classes of men. Armchair philosophers. One of my friends said, when I started giving him Bhagavad Gita book, he said, Radha, I will practice by actually making my own Bhagavad Gita. Once I retire from my work, I will create my own Bhagavad Gita and I will follow that. There are some people in this world who do that. Have you read Bhagavad Gita? No, I have not read Bhagavad Gita. I don't think there is a necessity to read Bhagavad Gita. It actually, it becomes an obstacle in my thoughts. I don't want to, actually confuse my directions. They think that Bhagavad Gita creates confusion. I don't want to have my head burdened by all these instructions. So they are called empirical, philosophical speculators, as I am showing you in the first figure. Second people are called Karma Yogena Yoginam, one who follow the rules and regulations, injunctions given by the authorities. Just like authorities had given you the road to follow to reach to Bangalore, trains that you can catch to reach to Bangalore, buses you can catch to reach to Bangalore. I said, I don't want to take any one of those, I will follow my own path. I will go to forest, I will farm my own road. This is speculation. When authorities have already laid a path for you, for your goal, what is the problem? So karma yogena yoginam, other section of people who actually realize the soul, the needs of the soul, are those who actually perform buddhi yoga devotional service. Yeah. The fourth verse. न कर्मणा अनारंभान नैष्कर्म्यं पुरुषोष्णुते न च संन्यासनादेव सिद्धिं समधिगच्छति. Not by merely abstaining from work can one achieve freedom from reaction, nor by renunciation alone can one attain perfection. There are two things here, two extremities. One wants to become perfect candidate the next day. People in this world are there who are so-called spiritual gurus. How did you reach to this level? One day I had a dream in the night. Next day I became a sadhu. There is no kind of, becoming bachelor of engineering takes 22 years. Reading medicine takes 27 years. A spiritual leader can become overnight. Is it possible? That is the cheap mentality of our Indians, so-called Indians. Cheap mentality. Spirituality means overnight transformation. I was sitting in a cave, next day I became a sadhu. It is not possible. Spiritual practitioner means it's a lifetime activity, lifetime sadhana. Doesn't matter whether you are a bachelor, grihastha, vanaprastha or a sannyasi. So, there are people who say that I don't want to do any work because the reaction that work gives, I don't know how to get away from it. Baba, I don't want reaction at all. I will not do this work at all. So this becomes a escapism for so-called spiritualists not doing any work. Spirituality means don't take any reactions in this world. Not to get into any reactions in this world means don't touch anything. Not touching any material objects because it gives reactions. So I will abstain from everything. Someone give me food. Doesn't matter if he gives vegetarian, non-vegetarian, doesn't matter. Whatever he gives, I will take. I am not killing animal. Someone else is killing animals. The sin he will take. I am only eating what he gives. This kind of escaping mentality is the one extreme end. Another extreme end is unnaturally taking up renunciation. If you have not reached to a maturity level, one should never ever jump into renunciation. Because either of those, escaping from work will not give you abstaining freedom from reactions because mind is always thinking. But just renouncing the world doesn't mean that you have actually become free from problems. No. In the renunciation order also you will get a lot of problems. Renounce order means you have eyes. You will be looking through the worldly things. You get attracted if you have not reached the maturity. You may fall down. So perfection doesn't mean that just taking renunciation you are become a perfect candidate or a perfectionist. No. So the next verse. Why? Because Krishna says, Nahi kashchit kshanamapi jatum tishtati akarmakrit karyate hi avashak karma sarvah prakriti jairgunai. Everyone is forced to act helplessly according to the qualities he has acquired from the modes of material nature. Therefore, no one can refrain from doing something, not even for a moment. So, Lord Krishna says, if you think that you are going to abstain from not doing your any duty, I am not going to think about anything, it is impossible. You cannot refrain from not doing because mind is always active, you are always thinking about something. Mind will keep on generating desires after desires after desires after desires. This is how this body forms. Body is under the control of this material nature. Material nature is going to control our senses and keep on giving us desires. Keep on throwing more and more and more and more sense objects which we get attracted from, and we become entangled to it. No one can become free from not doing something. Everyone has to do something. We cannot actually get away from not doing. The forces of our senses are so wild, it pushes us to do something, inauspicious things. The modes of nature, which subtle forms anger, greed, lust, they force us to actually, perform activities, inauspicious activities. So Krishna says, Nahi kashchit kshanamapi, not even a moment of time you can think that you are free from this world. Jatum tishtati akarmakrat. You cannot think that I will not do any activities. Karyate hi avashak karma. Everyone have to do one or the other activities because sarva prakriti jair gunair. We have gifted the modes of material nature, goodness, passion, ignorance from this world. We are entangled and we are puppet under the control of this nature. We have to act. Next verse. Karmendriyani samyamya yaste manasasmaran indriyartan vimudatma mityachara savuchyate. One who restrains the senses of actions, but those mind that dwells on sense objects certainly deludes himself and is called a pretender. There are many pretenders in this world who actually wear the saffron dress and try to cheat people, trying to say that they are spiritualists. They do a big show off in front of the people, they are saying that they are big spiritualists, but behind the scene, they are attracted to the worldly desires that it offers. So Krishna says that if you are just showing that you are restraining from senses of action, but behind the scene, if your mind is dwelling in the sense objects, you are certainly a mithyachara. Sadachara, mithyachara. It's these two opposite words. One who is faithful to his nature and he accepts that I need to actually go through purification. Second person is, I am a purified person, and he tries to make a show off, and in the behind the scene he does all kinds of abominable activities. So we actually need to be very careful Spirituality means honesty, integrity, values. We need to be honest in our endeavors. India, the spiritual market, have been corrupted because of certain leaders who actually have cheated the public, innocent public. Krishna is warning all of us in Bhagavad Gita, never ever become a pretender. Karmendriyani samyamya yaste manasasparam. There is another kind of pretenders. You can see here that there is a yoga practice that has been started in India today. It is in Delhi, all the parts of India now. Drinking beer yoga. They are corrupting our spiritual culture. The yoga means to control our senses, and they say that you are getting distracted while performing the yoga. Okay, I am going to give you the sense object in front of you. Take the beer, hold the beer with you and perform the yoga. What is yoga is all about? Yoga is not about controlling our body and making gymnastics to become thin and create a flexibility in our body in such a way that we have more and more and more urges, sensually power to enjoy more and more. This is not yoga. Horrible people who are actually polluting our spirituality, spiritual culture by bringing all kinds of nonsense into our India. Why do they do it? Because they don't know what yoga means. Yoga is Sanatana. Yoga means connection to the transcendental energy of the Lord, which is pure. Very, very important, dear friends. We need to understand this. We cannot get into this cheating public. If we do not know what is Bhagavad Gita, we easily get attracted to all these kinds of yoga, thinking that by you doing this yoga, I will be able to flex my body. By flexing my body, I would be able to enjoy more and more. What these people teach you, these people teach you how to enjoy more and more. That is why they have beer in front of you. Drink beer and tune your body. That is not yoga. Unfortunate that ignorant people are confusing. That is why Krishna is warning that Mithyachara, don't become a pretender. Then how should I perform spirituality? Krishna now says, Yastva indriyani manasa niyamya bharate arjuna karmendriyai karma yogam asakta savishishyate. On the other hand, if a sincere person, what does sincerity means? Honesty. I need to purify. I need to purify. I need to become dear to the Lord. I need to engage in the devotion service to Krishna because I am not pure. I need to, engage in the service of personality who is pure. I need to read his instructions, what is given in Bhagavad Gita. So Lord Krishna says, on the other hand, if a sincere person tries to control the active senses by the mind and begins karma yoga without attachment, he is by far superior. So if a person has a habit of, interacting with people, fine, doesn't matter. Krishna never says don't interact with people, but Krishna says interact with people, don't speak nonsense. So you can distribute the message of Gita by interacting with people. Use your social rapport to spread the message of Krishna. If you are into education, educate the future generation by giving the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita. If you are in the medical field, then just like the doctors here who are reading Bhagavad Gita before they are starting operations, there are hospitals where they do that. You can be a doctor and yet you can be a devotee of Krishna. If you are into passion of distributing food, or if you are into passion of cooking, cook and distribute love of Krishna by offering the food to Krishna and distribute the food as a Krishna prasad. By this you are actually giving the love of Krishna to everyone. So we need to engage in karma yoga. What is karma means? Senses for purification needs engagement. And engagement, if it is done in that service of Krishna, that actually uplifts our senses, uplifts our mind, uplifts our intelligence. That is karma yoga. How can I, through my actions, I can connect to Krishna? Karma yoga. Yoga means connection, karma means activities. How through activities I can connect to Krishna? If we can do that, we would be naturally transforming ourselves. We will naturally grow. नियतः कुरु कर्मत्वं कर्मज्जयो हि अकर्मणः शरीर यत्रापि च तेन प्रसिद्ध्येत कर्मणः. Perform your prescribed duty, for doing so is better than not working. One cannot even maintain one's physical body without work. Very, very important. In our society also there are many spiritual leaders. They don't sleep. They sleep only for 7 hours a day. What do? They perform many responsibilities in the society. They start Varnashrama Dharma of, starting a farm, educational institute, educate people about the need of following Bhagavad Gita. They are full time busy. They give direction to the other sections of communities. How to actually lead, how to actually have a lifestyle where we are becoming the ambassadors of Sanatana Dharma. So Krishna says, you cannot maintain your body by just saying that I am retiring. It's not possible. So engage yourself in the activities through which you can become purified. That is why Krishna is saying, you have to fight in this battlefield as a Kshatriya, as a service to me. The last verse of today's discussion. Yagnartat karmano anyatra lokoyam karma bandhanah tadartam karma kaunteya mukta sangha samacharah. Work done as a sacrifice for Vishnu has to be performed, otherwise the work causes bondage in this world. Therefore, O son of Kunti, perform your prescribed duties for his satisfaction. In that way, you will always remain free from bondage. So once when I went to my hometown in 2001, one of my father's friend came and he said, how is you? I was living in Australia. I used to come once a year. So he asked, how are you doing? And my father started telling him that, he's working in Australia. Now he has become a fan of Bhagavad Gita. So he always reads Bhagavad Gita. So, then, his friends started saying, oh, if you read Bhagavad Gita, then that means that you need to perform your duty. Do you know what Bhagavad Gita Krishna says? What does Krishna say? Karmanyevadikaraste mapaleshu kadachana. Your duty is to, your duty is to engage yourself in occupation. Become serious in your work. Don't get distracted by all this spirituality chanting. What a conclusion he derived. Karmanyevadikaraste mapaleshu kadachana. Then I immediately told him, Lord Krishna said, Karmanyevadikaraste mapaleshu kadachana, no doubt about it. But do you know, what did Krishna say in the 3rd chapter? Yagnartat karmano anyatra lokoyam karmadabandhanaha. You need to perform Karmano anyatra, you need to perform your duty, but with what consciousness? As a offering to Krishna. Yagnartat. Artat means what? Goal. Artha means the goal. Yagna means sacrifice. You need to have a goal that you are engaging in this duty as a sacrifice. Sacrifice for what? Sacrifice for the pleasure of Krishna. Sacrifice means what? You will use your outcomes of your activities in the service of Krishna. Lokoyam karma bandhanaha. If you do not utilize the outcomes in the service of Krishna, what happens? It entangles, the same outcomes entangles you in this world and you become a prisoner. I don't have to tell what happens if you become a prisoner of your own desires. Shackled. Tadartam karma kaunteya. With that consciousness, perform your duties. So don't, conclude Bhagavad Gita by just say karmanyavadikaraste. You have right to perform your duty. No, we have right to perform your duty and we have a right to perform our duty as a sacrifice to Krishna. That is in the 3rd chapter. If we just don't read properly and connect all the verses, we might get misguided. Just like my father's friend who said, Karmanyavadikaraste, you have a right to perform your duties. Do your duties properly. Don't get distracted by all this chanting and spirituality and all those things. These are all kind of ignorant people who have not understood Bhagavad Gita in a proper perspective. Tadartam karma kaunteya mukta sangha samacharaha. With that objective, perform your occupation, duty, karma. By that, you not only become a responsible citizen in this country, but also, since you offer the outcomes of your responsibilities as a service to Krishna, as a pleasure of Krishna, you have mukta sangaha, you have freed yourself from the bondage of this world. What a nice way of becoming free from the bondage of this world. Krishna gives a natural process. So, we are concluding here, and so here, Tyagaha, Arjuna started, Krishna ended. Don't renounce, but engage your duties as a service to me, as a sacrifice to me. Perform your occupational duty, perform your responsibility as a sacrifice to me. That is what all of us need to do. Hare Krishna.